In the landscape of American conservative politics, few figures have generated as much attention, debate, and division as Charlie Kirk. His journey from a young, ambitious college debater to the founder of Turning Point USA is a story that has been told and retold, but always with a focus on the public persona, the viral videos, the fiery speeches, the controversies that followed him everywhere. Yet, behind the headlines and the social media storms, there was always a real person, someone whose life and untimely death would spark a wave of questions and suspicions that refused to fade away. Charlie Kirk's ascent was nothing short of remarkable. At just 18, he launched Turning Point USA, a movement that would soon become a dominant force on college campuses across the country. He was known for his sharp mind, his quick wit, and his ability to energize young conservatives in a way few others could. The media often portrayed him as a provocateur, a symbol of the new right, bold, unapologetic, and always ready for a fight. But those who spent time with Charlie away from the cameras describe a different man. They talk about his warmth, his sense of humor, and his unwavering loyalty to friends and colleagues. He was the kind of leader who would stay late after events to talk with students, who would pray with fans, and who never forgot the people who helped him along the way. For every viral clip of a heated debate, there were countless moments of kindness and humility that never made the news. As his influence grew, so did the scrutiny. The line between the real Charlie and the media image began to blur, and the pressure mounted. Then, on a night that would change everything, tragedy struck, and the world was left reeling. It was September 10, 2015, at Utah Valley University. Charlie was at the height of his influence, headlining a major debate in a packed auditorium. The atmosphere was electric, with social media buzzing and live clips flooding TikTok and X. Security was minimal, just a handful of officers, some plainclothes staff, and Charlie's own team. No one could have predicted what would happen next. In the middle of the debate, chaos erupted. For a few seconds, everything seemed to freeze. Then, panic. Screams echoed through the hall as people ran for cover, phones out, recording the incomprehensible moment. In a split second, Charlie Kirk vanished from the spotlight, leaving millions in shock. The footage spread instantly, turning a political event into the biggest mystery in social media history. By midnight, the hospital pronounced Charlie dead. The suspect was quickly identified: Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old dropout from Utah State University, studying electrical engineering. He turned himself in 33 hours later, after being persuaded by his family. The evidence seemed overwhelming: a Mauser 98 rifle, DNA on the trigger, bullet casings with meme symbols, and a trail of online posts showing Tyler's obsession and resentment toward Charlie. But as investigators closed the case, the questions only multiplied. Prosecutors insisted Tyler acted alone, radicalized by online debates and Charlie's opposition to LGBTQ+ issues. The FBI called it a clear case of lone wolf extremism. Tyler's mother said her son became obsessed with Charlie and lost control. The investigation was swift. The indictment came just 6 days later, and the FBI closed its case. But not everyone was convinced. Witnesses at the scene claimed the weapon didn't match the police photos. The evidence photos were blurry, some damaged in transit. There was no camera footage of Tyler on the roof, just a blind spot in the system, according to the FBI. The ballistics report was sealed, raising even more suspicions. Candace Owens, once a close ally of Charlie, was the first to publicly question the narrative. On her podcast, she argued that the attack was too precise, too rehearsed, to be the work of an amateur. She demanded to know why there were security blind spots, why the investigation was wrapped up so quickly, and why the FBI refused to release key evidence. Her questions resonated with a public already primed to distrust official stories, and soon, the internet was ablaze with speculation. At the center of the storm was Erica Kirk, Charlie's widow. Once seen as a symbol of loss, she quickly became a figure of controversy. Just hours after Charlie's death, she appeared at the hospital, calm and composed, vowing to continue his mission. Her social media went silent, then returned with a single cryptic post: "You have no idea what fire you lit in this woman." The internet exploded. Was this courage, or something else? Neighbors whispered about late-night arguments and family tensions. Rumors spread about millions missing from TPUSA funds. Charlie's parents cut off contact, accusing Erica of being cold and calculating. At memorials, Erica spoke of faith, America, and Charlie's mission, but never of their personal life, never of their love. The contrast with Candace Owens, who shared raw, emotional memories of Charlie, could not have been starker. Candace, now a top podcast host, refused to let the story die. She posted behind-the-scenes photos, shared personal anecdotes, and insisted that the real Charlie Kirk was being erased by a carefully managed narrative. Her emotional broadcasts drew millions of views and reignited the debate. Then Candace dropped a bombshell. She claimed that Charlie was betrayed by someone close to him. Without naming names, she implied that Erica knew more than she was saying. The internet went wild. Hashtags like #EricaKnows and #KirkCoverUp trended for days. Candace also pointed fingers at billionaire Bill Ammon, alleging he pressured Charlie to change his stance on Israel. Ammon denied everything, releasing friendly texts with Charlie, but the damage was done. Every denial only fueled more suspicion. As the weeks passed, the story became less about what happened to Charlie and more about who controlled his legacy. Two camps emerged, those loyal to Erica, now CEO of Betrayal, and those who believed Candace was fighting for the truth. Family tensions spilled into public view. Charlie's parents refused to attend events hosted by Erica. Rumors of financial mismanagement swirled. Candace alluded to missing money, though she offered no proof. The internet, hungry for answers, turned every detail into a clue. Even Joe Rogan weighed in, calling the official story weird, and sparking a new wave of conspiracy theories. The #Utah cover-up trended globally. Candace's campaign focused on preserving the memory of the real Charlie Kirk, the man, not the brand. She shared stories from fans, old photos, and heartfelt tributes. Her message: they can control the narrative, but they can't control the memories. Erica, meanwhile, remained silent. Her public appearances were controlled, her speeches focused on faith and mission, never on personal grief. To some, this was strength. To others, it was a mask. A viral post summed up the divide. Candace showed us Charlie, the real person. Erica showed us Charlie, the brand. The conservative movement, once united, was now split down the middle. Despite the mountain of evidence against Tyler, doubts persisted. Why was there missing footage? Why did Tyler know so much about Charlie's plans? Why was the autopsy sealed? And why did Erica seem so composed, so unshaken? Candace's followers demanded answers. Was Tyler a pawn in a larger game? Was Erica hiding something? Or was this all just the chaos of grief and power struggles? The FBI stayed silent. The October 30th hearing loomed, promising new revelations, or more confusion. With Charlie gone, Betrayal was in turmoil. Erica took control, but faced constant suspicion. Candace refused to back down, her audience growing with every new theory. The Kirk family was fractured, and the conservative movement was more divided than ever. In the end, the battle was no longer just about Charlie Kirk. It was about truth versus power, memory versus narrative, and the future of a movement built on one man's charisma. As the world waits for answers, one thing is clear: the story of Charlie Kirk is far from over. The questions remain. The divisions deepen. And the truth, whatever it may be, is still waiting to be revealed. What do you think? Was Charlie Kirk the victim of a lone attacker, or is there more to the story? Is Candace Owens fighting for justice, or fueling the fire for her own gain? Is Erica Kirk a grieving widow, or a master strategist? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe, because the search for the truth is just beginning. The aftermath of Charlie's death has left a movement in disarray. Betrayal, once a tightly knit organization, now finds itself at the center of a storm. Erica, stepping into the role of CEO, faces not only the challenge of leading but also the burden of suspicion. Her every move is scrutinized, her motives questioned. Supporters are divided. Some see her as a pillar of strength, others as a symbol of something darker. The silence from the authorities only adds to the sense of unease. The FBI's refusal to release key evidence, the sealed autopsy, and the missing footage all feed into a narrative of cover-up and conspiracy. Meanwhile, Candace Owens continues to press for answers. Her podcasts, live streams, and social media posts keep the story alive, drawing in new followers and fueling the debate. She positions herself as the voice of the real Charlie Kirk, the one who cared about people, who stood for something more than just politics. Her critics accuse her of exploiting tragedy for personal gain, but her supporters see her as a truth-teller, unafraid to challenge the official story. The Kirk family, once seen as a model of unity, is now fractured. Charlie's parents, estranged from Erica, have withdrawn from public life. Friends and former colleagues are reluctant to speak out, fearing backlash from either side. The movement that Charlie built is at a crossroads, its future uncertain. As the October 30th hearing approaches, anticipation builds. Will new evidence come to light? Will the questions that have haunted this case finally be answered? Or will the mystery only deepen, leaving the public to draw its own conclusions? In the absence of clear answers, speculation thrives. Every detail, no matter how small, is dissected and debated. The line between fact and rumor blurs, and the search for truth becomes a battle of narratives. In the end, the story of Charlie Kirk is about more than just one man. It's about the power of memory, the struggle for control, and the ways in which public figures become symbols, shaped and reshaped by those who survive them. As the debate rages on, one thing is certain: the legacy of Charlie Kirk will not be settled easily. The questions will persist, the divisions will remain, and the search for answers will continue. So, what do you believe? Is there a deeper conspiracy at play, or is this simply the tragic result of a divided and turbulent time? Is Candace Owens a crusader for truth, or a provocateur stirring the pot? Is Erica Kirk a victim of circumstance, or a player in a larger game? The answers may never be clear, but the conversation is far from over. If you followed this story, share your thoughts below. Join the discussion, ask your own questions, and keep searching for the truth. Because in the end, the only way to honor the real Charlie Kirk is to refuse to let his story be forgotten, to keep asking, and to never settle for easy answers.